Right, for this last visualization, we wanted to do something that wasn't another map. Although that is possible in Tableau Public, it's a very powerful piece of software. What I wanted to show you was an interactive chart, really. So the first thing that we need to do is to open the data. And in this case, we're just going to use a Microsoft Excel table that we've created here before. It's also possible to connect with various data on servers, and it will do live updates if you pay for actually a pro account. So there we are, ZA Clinics Tidy. That's the worksheet that we want to take a look at. Okay, now we just need to select which sheet we actually want to use from the entire workbook. And in this case, we're going to use Pop HIV Clinics, which is basically a copy of our pivot table. You can see down below here where this is all information from the pivot table. But we've also appended to that the population of the area, HIV rates, etc. So let's go to the workbook. Okay, so now we've actually opened up Tableau Public and our worksheet here, and we see that over on the left is where actually all of our data actually remain. So what I want to do is I'm interested in creating a chart just to take a look and see or sort of test what we have here in terms of a potential hypothesis where Western Cape is an outlier in terms of the number of clinics as compared to the number of people living with HIV here. So clinics where it's as easy as drag and drop actually. And then what we want is let's go ahead and compare that to the HIV rates. Now you can see that that just gives us one circle, and what is currently turned on here is trend lines. Let's take away the trend lines just so we can see this. Now that gives the overall sum across all of South Africa, but that doesn't really tell us anything. We want that actually disaggregated by provinces. So what we're going to do is we just drag province into the color bracket there, and we can see that now Eastern Cape is blue, Western Cape is this olive green, KwaZulu-Natal is now red, etc., etc. And I think what this does really show is that in principle, if you kind of exclude the Western Cape, you can almost begin to see a trend, and that is where one can add the trend lines, and you can see right there actually that basically shows almost zero correlation whatsoever. But it is interesting because if you exclude Western Cape, you'll notice that the trend line actually changes direction completely and starts to indicate a trend line. So it's very clear that Western Cape is an outlier in all of that. If we want to get rid of that exclusion, let's just hit remove. Now, this tells us a little bit of the story. So we know there's something interesting happening in the Western Cape. Based on the data that we have, let's see if there's anything else that we can discover. So we're going to put clinics back down there, and then actually let's just look at the total population. And again, we want to disaggregate by province, so we drag that into the color. And there we are. What you'll notice that actually there's a lot more direct relationship between the population and the number of clinics. So it could just be that the rates of HIV are quite low well, comparatively low in the Western Cape. Again, we can pull in a trend line, and we can see a fairly good relationship there. One of the interesting things about Tableau is that you can actually go ahead and you can create dashboards, and you can add the sheets to the dashboard, and you can begin to tell a little story. So I've done that horizontally, but you could do it vertically. You could add as many as you want. You can actually make this a filter that applies across various ones. So in this case, we can highlight Western Cape, you'll notice, and that is now highlighted in both of these. You can in fact do more than that. You can create a whole story, and just like the other ones that we've already worked with, when it comes to saving, you can just save it straight to the web, and you can embed that in any web page.